Everybody's talking about GLP-1s like Wegovy, Ozempic, and Mounjaro. Your coworker lost 20 pounds using them, celebrities are pushing them, and your doctor might have even mentioned it. But before you jump on the GLP-1 bandwagon, there's some important details that you need to know. Today, we're talking all about GLP-1 medications, what they do, the side effects that you might experience, the results that you might see, and most importantly, what you should try before you start taking one. Welcome to the Fit and Fulfilled Show. If you're a busy professional woman who wants to finally prioritize your health and happiness, this is the place to be. I'm your host, Soraya Russell, certified macronutrition coach, mindset coach, and lifestyle transformation coach. And each week, I share practical strategies to help you build sustainable habits, boost your energy, feel confident and strong in your body, and become obsessed with what you see when you look in the mirror, all without feeling guilty, stressed out, or overwhelmed. Let's dive in. So today we're having an honest conversation about GLP-1s, and I'm really not biased on this topic. I've seen a lot of weight loss coaches or mentors saying they're very anti-GLP-1s and just ignore the GLP-1s and pay for their coaching program. But I've worked with several clients who have done GLP-1s before working with us. I've had some clients doing GLP-1s while being in our coaching program because they wanted to wean off of it or they didn't want to get off of it all. Not only that, I've done a lot of independent research on the drugs themselves. So I have a lot of insight into how they work, whether they're a good fit for you, and some things that you should try alongside them or in place of them. I really wanted to create this episode to help you make a very informed decision because I know you've probably been seeing GLP-1s everywhere. You've been bombarded with ads probably, your coworkers, friends, or family are talking about them. And I wanted to create a safe space for you to get the information, the neutral, unbiased information you need to make an informed decision about whether you should or should not start a GLP-1 medication. So first, let's discuss what a GLP-1 actually is and what GLP-1 actually stands for. So GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. It's a medication that was originally designed for type 2 diabetes patients and has been repurposed for weight loss as well. And to explain a little bit more about how it works, GLP-1s basically mimic a hormone that helps you do a couple things. The first is slowing digestion and the emptying of your stomach. So when someone's taking a GLP-1, they'll find that they get full a bit quicker. And so it's physically harder to eat as much food as they ate before. Where someone prior to taking a GLP-1 might have had a burger and fries and just ate and not felt full until maybe 30 minutes after finishing the meal, someone on a GLP-1 physically is going to have a hard time getting through that entire meal because they're going to feel more full. One of the biggest things that people talk about is it reduces appetite and food cravings. So many people talk about food noise, whether it's you're thinking about food constantly, you're thinking about your next meal, you're thinking about dessert, you're daydreaming about food. That tends to go away when you're taking a GLP-1, which is appealing to a lot of people because the issue is not always appetite. Sometimes it's food noise. It's having thoughts about food, which leads to you over consuming food. It also helps regulate blood sugar levels, which is really helpful for type 2 diabetes patients and also just for general health as well. So one of the biggest benefits that I see with people who want to lose weight when they take GLP-1s is you get pretty rapid weight loss without having to put in a bunch of work. So typically when you want to lose weight, you have to control yourself around food, have more discipline when it comes to your eating habits. But with GLP-1s, you don't have to put in that work because with the mimic of these hormones, you naturally do not crave foods as much. You get fuller more quickly. It slows down your digestion. So you're basically having the GLP-1 do the heavy lifting for you. So some stats I found that were very interesting is folks that take GLP-1s typically see a decrease in weight between 15 to 20% over 68 weeks on average, which makes sense. You're physically less hungry, hence you're consuming less calories. And so you're going to be losing weight much faster because if you were typically eating 2,500 calories without realizing it, and now you're only eating 1,500 because that's all you can take in, naturally you're going to lose weight very, very quickly. It's basically like you're putting yourself in an extreme calorie deficit without it feeling hard, without you feeling hungry, starving, or having cravings because you don't have any thoughts about food. But something I always like to emphasize is that the rapid weight loss isn't from the drug alone. It's from you eating a lot less calories, which the drug is helping you do because you're not as hungry. And so some people think that GLP-1s are a magic solution or a magic quick fix, but what's simply happening is you're just eating fewer calories. You're essentially putting yourself in a calorie deficit without it feeling as difficult. So now let's talk about some of the side effects that folks who take GLP-1s tend to see. And not everyone experiences these side effects, but I want to give you all of the details and information of things that you could experience if you do decide to take a GLP-1 medication. So the first is nausea. Studies showed that about 20 to 44%, so almost 50% of people who take GLP-1s experience some sort of mild nausea while taking the medication. You also might experience vomiting, diarrhea, or constipation. Constipation is like the worst thing for me, but those are some things you might experience when taking a GLP-1. Also, stomach pain and bloating is a common one. And so all of these three, one or all, you could experience them the entire time you're taking the medication or for a couple of months. So I actually had a client who came to work with us after 3 months of taking, I believe it was Wegovy, and she said she had to get off of it because the side effects were just so bad. She was losing weight, but she was very nauseous. She had constipation, which was very hard for her to stomach. And so because of that, she was like, it's simply not worth it. Yes, I'm losing weight, but I feel like crap. And I want to find a way to do this where I feel good and I look good. Another thing you might have heard of is something called Ozempic face. And this is essentially when you're losing face fat at a very rapid pace, it's going to lead to a more like aged, hollow look. So many people I know do want to lose face fat because typically when you lose fat everywhere, you'll also lose it in your face. But when you're losing face fat very rapidly, you go from the chiseled look you probably want with your face to a more aged, hollow look because your face is shrinking super quickly in a kind of unnatural way. Some people have said, like, I can tell when someone's taking a GLP-1 or has because their face looks a bit different than someone's face might look at that way if they weren't taking a GLP-1. So this is something that you might have heard about. If not, you can look up Ozempic face and you'll see some examples. But just something to be aware of that, yes, you may lose weight taking a GLP-1, but it might not lead to the overall look, whether it's in your body or your face, that you're actually going for. Because most women I know do want to lose weight, but they also have a certain physique that they're going for. And that a lot of times doesn't just require weight loss. It requires body recomposition, building muscle, losing fat, which a GLP-1 by itself is not going to help you do all of those things. There's also some medical concerns that have come up, and there's, I'm sure, more that haven't even come up yet because GLP-1s are still relatively new as far as being used as weight loss. One of them is stomach paralysis, which can even last after getting off the medication, which is pretty scary if you ask me. And another concern that's going to lead to a look that you probably don't want is muscle loss. So when you're taking a GLP-1, you cannot control how much of that weight is going to be muscle versus fat. And typically when you lose weight with a GLP-1, you will lose fat and muscle, and up to 40% of the weight that you lose could be muscle. And if that's the case, you are not, I can almost guarantee, you are not going to like the way that you look after you lose the weight because muscle is what leads to that lean, toned, healthy look that you actually want to have. And so if you're losing a lot of that, you're not going to have the look that you want after you lose that weight. Also, when you lose that much muscle, it crashes your metabolism, and that makes weight maintenance very, very difficult after you get off the medication. Because most people I know, if they do take a GLP-1, they don't want to be on it forever. And so if you lose a lot of muscle when taking a GLP-1, it's going to be very hard to maintain your final goal once you get off of it because you have a very slow metabolism since you have so little muscle on your body. And some of the mental health aspects that come from taking GLP-1s is because you aren't thinking about food and eating then becomes a chore. And so it creates another type of issue where it's almost like, I have to like force myself to eat because I'm not thinking about food. And so it can also still create a negative relationship with food, just in the opposite way. Instead of thinking about food constantly and obsessing over food, you now see food as a chore and something you feel like you have to do and check off of your list. And so because of that, you're probably not choosing foods that nourish you. You're just saying, well, I have to eat something, so let me just eat, even if it's a small amount. You're not going to be balancing your plate because you don't even care about food. And so yes, you might lose weight, but you might not be eating the right balance of nutrients to be fully healthy and get the most from your meals. You also might experience a loss of joy around social eating and food. And so I think there's a healthy balance. You don't want to be obsessed with food and think about food all the time. But for me, I look forward to holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas or outings with friends because maybe there's a meal I'm excited to have. That doesn't mean I'm going to overindulge, but I'm looking forward to it. But when you have no thoughts about food, you don't care about food, it also makes you less excited about certain social events that involve food because the food is part of the enjoyment and you're not getting enjoyment from food. Now let's talk about the biggest problem, which is what happens after you stop taking a GLP-1. So studies show that 2 out of 3 people after taking GLP-1 medication regain the weight. And that's why you probably see a lot of people who have taken GLP-1s and have maintained it. They still take GLP-1s. It's just maybe a smaller dose, but they have not gotten off of it completely and probably won't for a very long time or the rest of their lives if they want to maintain those results. So why do people regain weight after getting off a GLP-1? Number one, hunger comes back. So after you get off that GLP-1, you're going to start getting hungry again. And typically, your hunger levels are going to rise. Actually, another client we worked with recently, she tried a GLP-1 as well, but I think it was Mounjaro. And she was like, yes, Soraya, I did it for 6 months. I lost about 30 pounds, but I decided to get off of it because I was experiencing some side effects. And she was like, about 2 weeks after I got off of it, I had such crazy cravings. I was so hungry all the time. I was ravenous and I wasn't used to that feeling because it had gone away for such a long time. And so I was eating, and it felt like I was never full, like I could not get full. And she regained all of that weight within the next couple of months. And so this is why you have to really think critically with GLP-1s. If I do this, yes, I'm going to lose weight. Yes, I'll be less hungry. But if my goal is to get off of it, what's the plan to manage that hunger when it comes back? Because I never learned how to manage it on the medication because that feeling was just gone completely. So if you do end up staying on it because you don't want to deal with the hunger coming back and the cravings coming back, that's an ongoing expense that you're going to have for the foreseeable future. And without insurance, these GLP-1s can be anywhere from $900 to $1,400 a month. That adds up. That's like $10,000 to $16,000 a year for something that you're not weaning off of. Like that's just a regular ongoing expense. Whereas you could spend a quarter of the price, right, on the right help and support with your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health to actually make lifestyle changes. So you spend that money once and you're good to go. You basically know how to train yourself to have a better relationship with food, to have self-control around food, which will lead to that result without you having to spend all this money consistently on a medication that mimics the hormones that you already have in your body. And on top of this, when you take a GLP-1, you still have a skill gap. So you don't really understand how to change your habits. Things are just changed for you because you're not thinking about food. You don't know how to portion a meal. You don't have sustainable habits. You might not have a consistent exercise routine. You don't have a healthy relationship with food. And so when you lack these skills, the weight is going to come back. And if it doesn't, it's because you're paying for the medication for the rest of your life. So you really want to make sure you fill this skill gap. So circling back to the client I just talked about, she had lost 30 pounds doing Mounjaro or taking Mounjaro medication. And then she gained it back within a couple months because her hunger came back and she was ravenous. She was just like, I was eating, and I still couldn't get full. So she felt like she wasted a ton of money because she did the GLP-1, she lost the weight, she gained it back, was hungrier than she was before, metabolism was slower than it was before. So she decided, hey, I want to do this a sustainable way. I need help. So she joined our coaching program. So she regained the 30 pounds that she lost. With our help, she learned how to properly portion her plate for weight loss in a way that she wasn't hungry, wasn't starving, was satisfied from her meals, was still able to include things that she loved and enjoyed them. So she had a daily piece of chocolate every day. She was able to savor the chocolate, enjoy it, and get results. We created a sustainable workout routine for her where she was able to build muscle and lose fat. And that way, when she lost weight this time, she was actually going to get the body composition that she wanted. Within 3 months of working with us, she had lost 20 pounds. After 3 more months, she lost an additional 15 pounds, totaling 35 pounds, which was more than she lost with the GLP-1. But this time, she actually liked her body composition. She was toned, she was lean, she loved the way she looked in clothes and pictures. And most importantly, she's been able to maintain her results because she filled the skill gap. She knows how to portion. She has a healthy relationship with food. She understands how to fuel her body. And she's not reliant on medication to maintain her results. Did I mention this client was in her late 40s when she joined us? And one of her fears was that she couldn't lose the weight on her own naturally, which is why she needed a GLP-1. But she proved to herself that she could do it with the right, consistent, personalized, sustainable approach. So let's talk about what you should actually try before going towards a GLP-1. The first is putting yourself in a calorie deficit, but an adequate one with a proper amount of protein. This will help you lose weight, but not only that, you'll primarily be losing fat and building muscle. So basically how it works is when you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. You could lose fat, you could lose muscle, or you could lose both. Protein helps with muscle building and muscle recovery. So if you're in a calorie deficit, but you're consuming enough protein, with protein helping with muscle, that means that most of the weight you're going to lose is going to be fat, which is going to lead to the look that you're going for. So a simple way to calculate your calorie needs is take your goal weight times 12. Say your goal weight is 150 pounds. 150 times 12 is 1,800 calories. That's an estimate, but I have a free course that you can check out down below that has a more precise calculation based on your height, weight, activity level, all that good stuff. You can grab it below, but you can also use this simple calculation just to get started. Now, those are your calorie goals. Now to calculate your protein goal. If you are a meat eater or pescatarian and you weigh more than 225 pounds, take your current weight times 0.6, and that's your daily protein goal. If you're a meat eater or pescatarian and you weigh 225 or less, take your current weight times 0.8, and that's your daily protein goal. If you are a vegetarian or vegan, take your current weight, doesn't matter what it is, times 0.4, and that's your daily protein goal. The differences are really just to make sure that you're not eating a crazy amount of protein. So if the numbers weren't different based on your weight, if you were, say, 250 pounds, you'd be eating like 300 grams of protein or something like that. It'd be ridiculous. And we don't want that. So that's why the numbers are adjusted based on your weight. And then if you're plant-based, it can be a bit more difficult to get in higher protein without also increasing things like fat or carbs. And so 0.4 is just a more manageable number to focus on. So take those numbers, take it times your weight, and figure out what you should be aiming for as far as protein. Number 2, address your actual relationship with food, because GLP-1s can make you feel like you don't have thoughts about food and mitigate your cravings, but you're not really addressing your relationship with food, why you eat, why you end up thinking about donuts instead of thinking about actually de-stressing yourself. So work on things like your emotional eating habits, right? That could be working with a therapist, a mindset coach, an emotional eating coach. We actually have a therapist in our program that helps our clients work through relationships with food. Another thing is your all or nothing thinking. So I find a lot of women struggle with, I'm either on a strict diet, doing all my workouts, and if I miss one thing, I'm just going back to my old habits. There's no happy medium, there's no balance, there's no room for error. And so that's something you want to work on if you want to make sustainable lifestyle changes. These issues don't just disappear with medication, they're simply masked. But if they're masked, when the medication goes away, they come back to the surface, and a lot of times they come back even feistier. And so if you focus on changing your relationship with food, everything else becomes easy because food is not taking up so much of your life. The third thing you want to focus on is building strength through strength training, because this is going to help you supercharge your metabolism. And one of the keys when it comes to weight loss that lasts is having a faster metabolism. People tell me all the time, Soraya, how do you eat all that food and you still are maintaining your weight? I've trained my metabolism to say, hey, I can eat a lot of food, or we can eat a lot of food and maintain our weight. That happens from things like protein, eating the right amount of calories, strength training. So by lifting weights and building muscle, you're going to be able to eat more food and maintain your goal weight because you have a faster metabolism. So it's important not to just eat as few calories as possible, but to eat enough calories where you're able to maintain a healthy metabolism. So with strength training, you want to lift weights about 3 to 4 times per week. 45 minutes is really all you need. You can do this at home or at a gym with a couple pairs of dumbbells. You want to do 4 exercises per session. So for legs, that could be squats, deadlifts, lunges, and Bulgarian split squats. Do 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps, and you're good to go. So that's 45 minutes times 3. That's less than 3% of your week spent on strength training, which will give you so many amazing benefits, like a faster metabolism, a more toned figure, and just in general, a healthier, more mobile body. The next thing you want to focus on is sleep and stress management, because a lack of sleep leads to higher stress levels, which can lead to higher hunger hormones, which is probably one of the things you're trying to suppress by taking a GLP-1. And so by getting better, more restful sleep, you'll reduce some of those things naturally. So 7 to 9 hours is ideally where you want to be for sleep. I recommend sleeping in a cool environment. Try to make your room as dark as possible. That's going to help you get to sleep faster. And try to have a wind down routine. Reduce screen time 30 minutes to an hour before bed. And this will just help you get to bed faster and stay asleep longer. The next thing you want to do is get personalized help, because I tend to find a lot of women I've talked to who are considering GLP-1s or have gotten on GLP-1s who, in my opinion, didn't need to do that. It's simply because all the things they tried just were not the right thing for them. They might have tried strict diets, strict programs, something where there wasn't a lot of accountability. It wasn't very personalized. And so they thought, I've tried all these things, they didn't work, so let me try GLP-1s. But when you have a personalized approach, you'll find it can work for you. So before, you might have done a program where you were eating 1,000 calories. But what if I told you our clients are eating between 1,500 and 2,500 calories and losing weight? That's a lot of food. That's great. That's more sustainable. What if I told you our clients are eating pasta, wine, pizza, brownies in their 40s, 50s, and 60s? They're eating these things and still losing weight. What if I told you our clients are able to travel for work and still be able to have options available that help them reach their weight loss goals? They don't have to cook and lose weight. They just have to understand what to order that's going to be within my calorie goals. They have accountability from coaches who actually are there to support them and care about them as people. We have coaching calls twice a week, daily messaging support, calls with our therapist, mindset calls. And so with all this accountability and personalized support, our clients are actually able to see results and stick with them because they're things that actually work for their lifestyle. Not only that, we teach our clients maintenance mastery. This means we teach them, hey, once you achieve your weight loss goal, here's how to maintain it. A sneak peek into that is that looks like eating more food gradually over time to get to your new maintenance calories. Quick example, say you're in a calorie deficit, it's 1,500 calories. You've lost weight, hit your weight loss goal, and you can eat up to 2,000 calories to maintain your weight. We teach our clients how to gradually go from 1,500 to 2,000 calories without gaining any weight, and so maintaining their weight eating a lot more food. Most people don't teach you how to do that. They just teach you how to diet, eat as little food as possible, and then you're like, I don't know what to do after I've done this, or maybe I'm just really hungry and I don't want to do it anymore. And so when you master maintenance and have a personalized approach, maintaining your weight is easy. So I know I've said a lot that might make you think that I don't recommend a GLP-1, but here are some cases where I do think a GLP-1 might make sense for you. Number one, your BMI is over 40 and you have some serious health complications. I would say maybe even multiple health complications. If this is you, even with lifestyle changes, it can be a lot of work and can be a lot of change. And so a GLP-1 can be helpful. Once again, this is potentially something to think about if these factors relate to you, but it doesn't mean that you have to go that route. So making lifestyle changes might be harder, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. Number two is you are a type 2 diabetic that's struggling to make lifestyle changes. GLP-1s originally were created for type 2 diabetics in the first place, so your doctor might have recommended it, and it could be something helpful if you're struggling to make those lifestyle changes. Something I kind of believe is that I'm really weird about the pharmaceutical industry, but at the same time, I know that there are some people out there that they know that they need to eat better. They know they need to exercise, and maybe there are people out there like me that can help them, but they are not going to do it. And I know this sounds morbid, but if they don't do it, they're going to die. Right? And so if you're someone who's like, yeah, I know I should do these things, but I'm just not going to do it. And by you not doing it, you could end up in an early grave, then you might need to take medication because that's the only way that you're going to stay alive. But that's also just an honest reality that if you're willing to say, hey, I'm not going to make the changes, and so I rather take the medication to live, then that may be the route you need to take. But if you're someone who's like, you know what, it's going to be hard to make the changes, maybe it's going to be a bit of work, but I'm willing to do it, then I don't recommend taking the medication because you can do it. I've helped so many women do it. Even if you have been overweight your entire life, struggle with your relationship with food your entire life, you can make the changes naturally without medication if it's something that you want to do. So here's my honest assessment. These are things where if you fit any of these categories, maybe you should consider it. The first is that you've tried to make sustainable lifestyle changes, not a diet, not a gimmick, not a fad, but sustainable lifestyle changes for more than 6 months and have seen zero progress. Or number two, you understand that you will probably need to stay on a GLP-1 indefinitely to get results, and you are okay with that. Number three, if you can easily afford it long-term, $10,000 to $16,000 a year on the high end, for that long-term every single year, you're okay with adding that expense to your yearly expenses, and it's not going to take away from anything else in your life. You're totally fine with that. Or number four, you are willing to accept the side effects and risks that come from GLP-1s, just the ones that we're aware of. If any of these align with you, then it might be a good idea to take a GLP-1. But if any of these do not align with you, you're like, yeah, I don't want to spend that money. I don't want to be on it forever. I haven't really tried to do it the sustainable way. Then I think you should try the other things I mentioned first. The biggest question you have to ask yourself is, am I thinking about a GLP-1 because I want quick results? Or am I thinking about a GLP-1 because I have tried everything else out there and nothing has worked for me? If it's the first one, do not take a GLP-1. If it's the second one, maybe consider it. But most people listening to this, I guarantee you, you have not exhausted all your options. You might have exhausted a lot of options, but might have not landed on the right thing for you. And that's where we come in. In our coaching program, the Fit and Fulfilled Academy, we help you make sustainable lifestyle changes that lead to weight loss that lasts. Our clients are busy professionals in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. They've tried all the things. Nothing has worked till this because we focus on a personalized, sustainable approach. All their favorite foods fit: wine, pizza, pasta. They're not hungry. They don't feel starving. They have a workout routine that's doable within their schedule. They're eating foods that they actually enjoy. They give them energy that don't make them feel hungry, which leads to them losing 20 to 50 pounds and maintaining it for the rest of their life without relying on medication. Now, if you're interested in our program, all the details are down below. You can watch client testimonial videos, you can read reviews, you can see the things our clients are eating, and learn more about the process in which our program actually works. So, here are some common mistakes to avoid when considering GLP-1s. Number one is thinking that they're a magic solution or magic pill. They are not. They suppress your appetite, they make you less hungry, have less food noise, but you have to understand that even if you have less food noise, that doesn't mean you're not going to eat. Even though you might have less food noise when you get off of it, you're going to have food noise again. So you have to really understand that it's not a magic pill. It's making you eat less food because you're thinking about food less. So that just makes sense because you're eating less calories, which leads to weight loss, which you can do naturally without a GLP-1 by simply putting yourself in a sustainable calorie deficit. Mistake number two is not trying to make sustainable lifestyle changes first, because if not, you're going to be spending all this money on a medication that's going to kill your metabolism, make you reliant on it, cause you to maybe lose weight but then regain it once you get off of it. So really it seems like the best solution at first, but long term it causes more damage. So try a sustainable approach first. More protein, a slight calorie deficit, walking, lifting weights, things that can become habits long term. Mistake number three is going at it alone. If you're considering a GLP-1, you've probably tried things in the past that haven't worked for you. Those might have been diets or quick fixes, or they might have been other programs. But you might have not tried a program that's actually focused on sustainable lifestyle changes that's personalized to you. So you want to give that a try before going towards a GLP-1. Mistake number four is ignoring the muscle loss problem and not really taking into account that yes, you'll probably lose weight on a GLP-1, but you'll also be losing muscle, which is very important for overall health, strength, and also as you get older as a woman, it's very important for you to have a good amount of lean muscle. So if you're losing that, yeah, you might lose weight, but you're going to have other issues that come along with that, with less muscle mass on your body. So I hope after listening to this, you have a good understanding of which option you should go for, GLP-1s or making sustainable lifestyle changes. So thank you so much for tuning into the Fit and Fulfilled show today. I hope you walked away with practical strategies you can start implementing to feel more confident, fulfilled, and energized in your personal and professional life. And if you found this helpful in absolutely any way, I ask that you please subscribe and share with a friend who might find this helpful so they can benefit from this information as well. And if you want to lose 20 to 50 pounds without cutting out your favorite foods or spending all your time working out, I invite you to apply for our coaching program, the Fit and Fulfilled Academy. In the Academy, we help busy professional women like you by providing the coaching, guidance, and support that you need with nutrition, fitness, and mindset to achieve lasting weight loss without taking medication. All the details are down below. Next week, we're diving into a brand new topic that you're not going to want to miss. But until then, remember you deserve to feel as confident in your body as you do in your career. Take care.